Ambassador Kraft stepped from his shuttle onto Earth's soil for the first time, straightening his ceremonial uniform. As the Galactic Coalition's military liaison, he'd visited countless combat academies across 17 species. Today marked his evaluation of humanity's premier institution, the Global War College. A human officer named Captain Miller approached with an extended hand. "Welcome to Earth, Ambassador. We're honored to host the Coalition's foremost tactical mind." Krav's translator converted the primitive sound waves. He extended 3 of his appendages in the customary greeting, bemused by humanity's inclusion in the Coalition. Their species was barely 2 centuries into faster-than-light travel, practically infants. "The honor is mine," Krav replied diplomatically. "I look forward to observing how your species trains its military leadership." The captain nodded. "We've prepared an extensive tour. Our cadets are eager to demonstrate human combat doctrine." As they walked toward the main building, Krav noted the archaic design. Stone and metal, no quantum stabilizers or consciousness-enhancing fields. Primitive, just as he'd expected. "Our first stop is historical context," Miller explained, leading him into a hall filled with images of human conflicts. Krav paused at the first display. "This was only 200 Earth years ago. Your species still used chemical propellants and combustion weapons?" "Yes, our World War II saw nearly 70 million casualties." Krav's outer membrane rippled in shock. 70 million? From a planetary population of how many? Approximately 2 billion at the time. Krav's translator must have malfunctioned. His species had fought the Great Nebula War for 90 cycles with casualties of merely 12,000. "This can't be accurate. You're suggesting your species lost over 3% of its total population in a single conflict." Miller shrugged. "That's correct. Would you like to see our Cold War exhibits next? That's where we nearly annihilated ourselves with atomic weapons." Krav's scientist friends had speculated that Earth's high gravity and oxygen-rich atmosphere had created unusually durable beings. Perhaps they'd underestimated the brutality this environment had fostered. They continued to a classroom where cadets studied tactical simulations. Krav observed silently as an instructor named Major Thompson outlined an operation. "The key to effective urban warfare is coordinated combined arms," Thompson explained. "When facing entrenched positions, acceptable casualty rates of 25% may be expected for the primary assault wave." One of Krav's sensory stalks twitched involuntarily. "You deliberately sacrifice a quarter of your assault force." The room fell silent as humans turned toward him. "Ambassador," Thompson replied slowly, "in critical operations, we commit whatever resources necessary to achieve objectives. Our soldiers understand this commitment." Krav struggled to maintain diplomatic composure. In coalition doctrine, any operation with projected casualties exceeding 3% requires ministerial approval. The cadets exchanged glances. One student, Adams, according to his nameplate, spoke up. "Sir, with respect, 3% casualty thresholds would have made most human military victories impossible." Krav's unease grew as the tour continued. In the tactical arena, he watched cadets practice close-quarters combat with training weapons. The raw aggression displayed was unlike anything in coalition training. Humans didn't just disable opponents, they overwhelmed them with shocking ferocity. The combat simulator came next. Krav was invited to observe as a cadet team engaged a fictional enemy. When surrounded and outnumbered, the human squad commander ordered his team to go loud. What followed was a blistering assault directly into the strongest enemy position. "They're deliberately attacking the most defended sector," Krav asked incredulously. "Sometimes the only way out is through," Miller explained. "We call it violence of action, overwhelming force applied at unexpected points." By midday, Krav requested a brief recess to process what he'd seen. In a private chamber, he opened a secure channel to Coalition headquarters. "Supreme Commander, I must report disturbing findings. Humans don't approach warfare as we do. They don't optimize for minimal casualties or resource preservation. He struggled to articulate what he witnessed. "They embrace attrition. They absorb horrific losses that would psychologically cripple our forces. Their doctrine treats soldiers as expendable in a way our species psychologically cannot comprehend. The afternoon tour of the historical weapons vault proved even more alarming. Humans had developed thousands of specialized tools for killing one another, many designed specifically to maximize suffering. "This is a flamethrower," explained the curator, a retired colonel named Jackson. "It projects burning fuel onto enemy positions." "You burn your enemies alive?" Krav couldn't hide his horror. "We did. Now it's considered inhumane by our own standards," Jackson said casually. "We're always refining our ethics." The final presentation covered humanity's contingency plans for potential galactic conflicts. As the senior instructor methodically outlined humanity's doctrine of escalation dominance, Krav felt genuine fear for the first time in his military career. When the briefing concluded, he declined the invitation to the evening reception. Instead, he returned directly to his shuttle, citing urgent coalition business. Once safely in orbit, Krav recorded his final assessment. Recommend immediate revision of humanity's status within coalition defense planning. Their classification as a developing military power is dangerously misleading. While technologically inferior, their psychological approach to warfare represents an unprecedented threat. Unlike every other coalition species, humans don't fear war. They've mastered it. They don't avoid casualties. They accept them as inevitable. Most concerning, they retain their capacity for savagery despite their civilization's advancement. In short, humanity hasn't evolved beyond war. They've evolved through it, and it has made them something the galaxy has never encountered before. May we never give them reason to demonstrate their capabilities beyond their planetary confines.